Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video we're going to begin creating all of our control handles, and we're going to start linking those to all of our joints for our character. So generally speaking, I tend to start off with the legs, then I will go through and do the arms, and then usually I'll go through and do the body. But you don't actually have to do them in that order. It's just the way that I tend to work. So let's start off by zooming in on the character's legs. You can see here in the last video we've gone and mirrored all the joints across, and currently everything is connected. I will be making slight modification to the skeleton. I'll probably add in a couple of extra joints where the collarbones would be normally. And that's really just going to separate the shoulder joints here from being directly connected onto the spine. And that might give us a little bit more flexibility. So we'll come to that later on. I'm going to start off by adding some control systems to the legs just here. So you can see we've got our hip joint, a knee joint, ankle joint, foot joint, and a toe joint. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm in my rigging tab here, just so that I can get access to a couple of shortcut buttons. But I'm also, to begin with, I'm going to start off in the skeleton menu just here. And what I want to do is create an IK handle. Now what this is going to do is give us a control handle that will drive the legs just here from the hip down to the ankle. So under create IK handle, I'm going to go to the option box, and what I want to do is set the current solver value to rotate plane solver. Now what this does is it gives us a handle which essentially has a forward direction, and that's the direction that the knee is going to point in. The other one, which is just a single chain solver, doesn't have that forward direction built in. But we will be using one of those in a minute. So with the rotate plane solver selected, you can see all the default options here. What I'm going to do is click on the hip and then click on the ankle like that. And it'll create this green line between the two joints you've clicked on, and it'll also give you this little 3-axis handle down the bottom. This is your IK handle. If you move this handle around, you can see that the joints in the leg now move. Now at this point we don't have any control over the angle of the foot, so the angle of the foot will basically remain sort of rigid like this, but we need to add in some more IK handles. Now the way this is going to work is I'm going to run through the process of doing this on one leg. You will need to repeat this process for the other leg. There's no real way of mirroring this system across like we did with the joints, so you'll need to repeat this process as we go along, or you can do one leg and then do the other. So we now need to add in some IK handles for the joints in the foot. So I'm going to go back up to the skeleton menu, back down to create IK handle. Let's open up the options again, and this time I'm going to switch the current solver to single chain solver. So this is going to give me an IK chain that doesn't have a forward direction. And what this will do is act like an anchor for the joints in the feet, so that we can move them independently of the ankle. So I'm going to start off by clicking on the ankle joint, then I'm going to click on the foot joint here in the middle. And that's added in an additional IK handle, and you can see that sort of there. Okay, I then want to repeat that again. So I'm just going to grab my IK handle tool from over here on the left hand side, or you can go back up to the menu, and using the same single chain solver, I'm going to click on the foot joint and then on the toe joint. So what this is going to do is give me a control handle for the toe, which will let me bend the foot sort of across this area, and it also gives me a control for the main foot as well, and that's going to allow me to do things like make the foot tap, for example. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is create a control handle for my IK handles. And this is going to be basically a visual representation which the animator will click on and actually animate to get the foot to function. So at a basic level, what we could do is go across to the Curves tab and select a NURBS circle. And if I just click on the grid, it'll create a NURBS circle at a default size. And what we can do here is just rotate this around. If I grab my channel box, I can either hold down the J key before I start rotating, and that will snap it to 15-degree increments like that, so I can get it to sit flat on the grid. Or I can type in this case, rotate X minus 90, just there, so that it's flat on the floor. So at a basic level, what we could do is sort of place this near the foot, and then just use the scale options to kind of stretch things out and just adjust the position like that. So we could do something along those lines. If you want to make this a little bit more visually representative of a foot, then you can actually right click on the curve, go into the control vertex mode, and then actually physically change the shape of the curve so that it looks a little bit more like a foot. So if we grab these and just kind of, you know, nudge them out like that, so we get like this foot shape. Okay, that way the animators looking at the control will instantly kind of recognize that this controls the foot. Okay, so we can do something like that as well if you want. Obviously, you know, we can kind of scale it to suit, and we do want it to be a little bit bigger than the foot that it's controlling. So something along those lines should be okay. Something like that. Okay, so whichever option you go for, whether it be just a big circle or, you know, like an ellipse or a more custom shape, what we want to do basically is get the object in the sort of position around the foot. So I've got another one for the other side. What I'm going to do is duplicate this. So we'll go Edit, Duplicate. And over here in the channel box, I'm going to change the Translate X value to minus. And then just hit Enter. So it's basically just that whatever number is in there with a minus in front of it. And that's going to move it across to the same distance on the other side of the body. And then what we can do is rotate this 180 degrees on the Z axis. So for rotate Z, type in 180, and that's just going to flip it around so that it's like a mirror image, like that. Okay, so the final thing that I'm going to do with both of these curve objects is I'm going to select them both. I'm going to come up to Modify, Freeze Transformations, and then Edit, Delete by Type History. And then we just need to name these two. So I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to call this Left Foot Control. Okay, now whatever variation of this naming convention you want to use, that's fine. This is what I tend to use, so I'm just going to kind of stick with that. I'm going to copy that just there, and then just paste it in for the other foot control, and then just change the L to an R like that. So that's basically our foot control. And don't forget, what you'll need to do is go through and actually repeat the process for adding in the IK on both sides. I'm going to leave this video here, and in the next video what we'll do is start to actually create connections with the IK handles down here and with the foot control, so that we can actually control the all of the IK handles in the foot with the foot control object. So I'll see you then.